Did Harada just tease the first DLC character for Tekken 8? In itself, that is a pretty bold statement, but that's what I want to talk about in this video, because a few days ago, Harada posted a message, and if you want to read that post for yourself, I'll have the link in the description down below, but it is pretty long, so I'm not going to read the entire thing here. I'm just going to kind of paraphrase as best as I can. Then I'll give you my thoughts on it. So here we go. Harada says, "This is a serious question, and I'd like to hear from the Native Americans in the Tekken community about Julia and Michelle Chang's design, saying, arcade games require you to insert coins and move on to gameplay within seconds. Fighting games in particular needed to convey the character's personality and charm within a limited amount of time. This is a big difference from designing game characters around narratives. Games where narratives are important can take their time and show the character's identity in the story. But this approach cannot be used for arcade games. I mean, just think about it. You get to an arcade, you're like, whoa, this game looks cool, let me pop a coin in, and you get like 15 seconds to choose a character. You want to know as much about that character as you can in as little time possible when you're trying to choose who you want to fight with. Look at King. You see the mask and you're like, oh, okay, wrestler. You look at Paul Phoenix and you think, okay, cool American guy. You look at Yoshimitsu and you're like, whoa, some samurai ninja, this guy looks sick. You see what I'm saying? He says, as mentioned earlier, we focused on designing a game that would convey the character's personality and charm within the limited time available in an arcade game environment. The same is true for Julia and Michelle. We want to reflect their American heritage in their character design, so we took inspiration from Native American tradition of war bonnets and added feather accents to their heads. Especially in the 1990s when the number of polygons was still too small to be expressive. It was important to express individuality through this one-pointed design, which makes sense. Game files back then were not as big as they were today. Pixels were much bigger, you couldn't get as detailed, but then he talks about how around the time of Tekken 6 to Tekken Tag Tournament 2, they received some messages from a Native American, talking about how the feather that Julia wears on her costume is a stereotype, and how modern Native Americans don't dress like that anymore. He then received images from that individual, showing how everyone dresses nowadays. And I think this really got Harada thinking, which is why Julia in Tekken 7 kinda had a bit of a redesign. I didn't think it looked too different from her Tekken 4 look. That's just me. He says certainly his or her point is true as a fact of the real world, but on the other hand, suppose I were to design a new Native American character, one that is more averse than necessary to be evaluated as a stereotype, or one that avoids such stereotypes. In that case, for example, I might design a simple, common, safe, and controversy-free design of a monochromatic t-shirt and jeans. But then, perhaps just by looking at the game screen or the character select screen, this is a Native American character, would not be understandable. He then talks about how he wonders if King will one day be seen as a Mexican stereotype, being a wrestler, or how Paul might get criticized for wearing a Japanese judo suit. He then talks about how they design characters, how it's not just from reading books or watching movies, but they talk to actual people in that culture to get their character as accurate and as best well representative of their country of origin as possible. He then asks, so should we use this approach with all of our characters, getting feedback from even people online about designs? If we do this, we lose the fun of what kind of character will we get, and our ideas and creative power will not be utilized. And he ends it all with two questions. Question number one, the Native Americans of the Tekken community, do you have any concerns about Julia or Michelle as you pointed out above in terms of design? He then asks question two, if I were to design a new Native American character, is there an item that is not all controversial on its expression that would convey at a glance that it is Native American? Now he does state at the beginning of this post how he's really only asking Native Americans to answer this question. Now I'm not Native American, but it's a free country, so while I'm not really gonna answer the questions, I do want to speculate, because this just kind of seems out of the blue, just asking about certain characters' designs. And I wonder if this is why Julia wasn't in the base roster. The Changs have been in every Tekken game up until T8, so they're for sure legacy characters. So this makes me wonder two things. Number one, is he asking this because he wants to bring Julia back, but make sure that her design looks good and non-offensive, I guess? Or number two, is he planning on designing an all-new character that we're going to be getting with a DLC pack? Now I don't think that this will actually be the first DLC character that we're getting, because if he is making a new character, he's going to have to start from the ground up, and it's going to take some time. So perhaps we'll be getting this character with year 2 or year 3. Now me personally, I've never played as the Changs that much, but I actually did like Julia's design in Tekken 7. I thought it was great. Now to be fair, I just recently got into Tekken, so I'm not as attached to the old designs as maybe some of you guys might be, and that's okay. I completely understand, but it just makes me wonder, you know, this could possibly be confirming a future DLC character, whether it's Julia returning, in which case that would be awesome, especially if she got her own character episode, since we're seeing that Ogre is in the story of Tekken 8, whether it's just a flashback or we're actually going to get to see, I don't know, something more. The Changs have a certain connection to him, if I'm not wrong, a certain amulet that was passed down from generation to generation in their family, so I wonder if he'd want to do something with that. How would he do it? I have no idea, but also the idea of a new original Native American character wouldn't be bad either. But I would be interested to hear your thoughts down below about this entire situation. Do you think that developers should really be worried about offending some people when they're trying to make a character design, or should they have freedom to do whatever they want? Do you think that this question's even necessary? Regardless, I appreciate you making it this far into the video. If you aren't already subscribed to the channel, please consider it. It would really help me out. And if you want to join Discord, the link link will be in my description down below. Also, I stream Tekken 8 every Tuesday with viewers. But that is all I got for you today. Again, thank you so much for watching, and you'll see me in the next video.